Hello and welcome back to Lonely-ish Podcast, a podcast about loneliness. My name's Ish and sometimes I feel lonely. I'm back to try new hobbies this time. So pottery has always been something I'd like to try, but I never got round to it, or maybe been brave enough to try it. Before I even touched any clay, I realise I know nothing about clay or what it actually is. I've never given it a second thought, so I decided to do a bit of digging. Clay is a mineral particle that forms when rocks erode and weather in the earth. When wet, it's soft and malleable. Once dried or baked, it becomes hard and durable, and it comes in numerous types and a spectrum of colours. Clay's been a part of human life for a very long time. It's among the oldest materials used by ancient civilizations for writing tablets and building bricks. Of course, people went beyond simply using clay. They developed pottery as a result. Pottery, which dates back to prehistoric times, is both an art form and a craft. It serves practical purposes in ceramics and stoneware, while showcasing artistic expression and creative interpretation through history. I'll stop there before it turns into a history lecture. What struck me most is that pottery isn't just something people did. It's something people still turn to. And this is a part that really interests me. Why is it such a popular arts and crafts activity? Well, probably because of its mental health benefits. But what I noticed first was how physical it is. It's really hands-on. Your hands are busy. You're shaping something. And your focus naturally narrows to what's right in front of you, which can feel pretty grounding when your head's been busy or noisy. It's also used in art therapy because it requires that kind of multi-sensory coordination, which can help with emotional regulation and letting go of difficult held feelings. Pottery can also be incorporated into rehabilitation programs for individuals recovering from physical illness or injury. And clay in itself is surprisingly forgiving too, unlike a lot of other raw materials. If something doesn't go to plan, you can just reshape it and try again. Besides the physical side of pottery, there's also an emotional and neurological side that I hadn't expected. People talk a lot about the emotional side of pottery, how it can be calming or grounding, but what surprised me was how soothing it is. Your hands are busy, your focus narrows, and for a while, everything else just fades into the background. It didn't suddenly fix my loneliness, but because for that time I wasn't stuck in my head on my own, I was just there, doing something, connected to what was in front of me. While engaging in pottery, you're not only solving cognitive problems involving spatial reasoning as you figure out how to form shapes, but you're also activating various areas of your brain and those responsible for fine motor coordination in your fingers and hands. And it can help you enter a flow or mindful state. As I mentioned last episode, flow, a concept introduced by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi in the 1970s, combines awareness and action, reduces self-consciousness, and brings motivation and joy while benefiting mental health. And I think that's why pottery has become such an important space for people, especially after everything we've lived through recently. Because what really matters here isn't the history of clay or the psychology behind it, but what it actually feels like to sit down, put your hands into it and realise you're not doing this alone. Most people don't walk into a pottery studio feeling calm and centred. They walk in feeling, I imagine, slightly awkward, a bit unsure, wondering if everyone knows what they're doing. Spoiler alert, they don't. So I booked to go to a one-off beginner throwing session at a pottery studio not too far from me. So all very well in theory. The reality was I turned up not knowing a single person, hands hovering over clay, thinking, right, let's see how this goes. Coming up is Kathy, who runs the studio. We chatted once my session ended. So I'm here today with Kathy, who runs the Dassett Pottery near Southam. So Kathy, what made you open up your pottery studio?
So I'm just passionate about clay. But it's more than clay. I'm passionate about how it feels, what it does for me, what it does for my mental health, and I think my sense of who I am, my identity. And I wanted to share that. I was desperate to share that.
So when you say what it does for you, can you explain a little bit more about that?
So it's, I don't know whether the right word is grounding, but it preoccupies your mind in such an intense but beautiful way. I think it stops all the bits of my brain working that do the worrying and the thinking.
Okay. Yeah.
It gives me some peace and a little bit of space to stop worrying.
So it gives you, is that like you have a still mind, is that right?
Yeah.
It stills your mind.
It stills my mind, but at the same time it's very, very focused. But
Yes.
I think maybe a different part of my mind, a different part of my brain has engaged.
Yeah.
So the other bit has to just sleep. And I think that's great. It gives it a rest.
Yeah. So the logical side, which we engage with all the time, and then we have like a creative side of our brains, don't we?
Yeah. So that gets going, which is really lovely. And I get so much from that. And I wanted to share that because it's such an amazing thing.
Yeah. And obviously it's great for our mental health as well.
But brilliant for mental health. I came to pottery probably about 20 years ago when my mental health was not great. I was very stressed, having a terrible time. And by chance, I happened to be standing at my daughter's school in the pottery studio. And there was something about the smell of clay that I find really attractive. It's really weird, and it's been with me ever since I was a little girl. I remember my parents took us out if we were on holiday. I was desperate to go and visit a pottery studio because of the smell, and I can't tell you why. But I was there, and there must have been something written on my face because the potter at the school said, "Do you know I do a Tuesday evening class?" And I got so excited. So I joined the Tuesday evening class. And to this day, and I mean, we are more than 20 years on, I remember what that felt like, and it is incredible.
I'm trying to think what the smell of clay might be like, but I can't really say I've noticed it.
Maybe it's a little bit like rain on a hot summer's day when it hasn't rained for days, and it hits the dust, and there's a wonderful smell. Okay. Maybe I just like smelling mud. I don't know.
Smelling mud. There is a word for it, which I'll look up later, but there is a phrase for that.
It's that, but as a little person, I don't know why I loved that smell. But it makes me feel safe, comforted.
You mentioned that word, haven't you, before, about
it's
clay having a grounding
effect. Yeah, so somehow I think it just takes the stress away.
Yeah.
You touch it, and I feel it in my whole body.
Yeah. Because I've just obviously had an introduction to pottery, and I don't know where the time went myself. It was like all of a sudden 2 hours had gone by.
It's gone. Yeah. But do you feel better in your head? Do you feel different in your head?
I feel, I actually feel very calm.
Yeah.
And quite. I have to say, I can feel the endorphins going around. There is a burst slightly of just doing something that I've never done before.
Yeah. And I think also it's strange because it feels quite calming, but at the same time, if you look at a pottery wheel, it's turning quite fast at times, and there is all this frantic activity, and your body's a whole body engagement, and muscles are engaged, so your body's actually really busy and it's working very hard, but at the same time, it's calm. And you just think, all that core strength that you're building and all those muscles tense, and it's calm. Yeah,
I mean, you do have to concentrate. I think.
You do.
Now, I'm sure later I will feel a bit tired, but it's definitely a holistic experience, isn't it?
Yeah, whole body. Yeah.
Okay. And one of the things I obviously ask people is about their own experience of loneliness, because it's unique to everybody. So, is there a time that you can perhaps tell us about where you felt lonely?
Yeah, I think probably my loneliness is around connections with people that possibly like the same thing. So, for example, when I'm in the office, I'm doing officey things, not creative things. And the things that people talk about are not the things I engage in, and that's not in any way to be disparaging to the people. That's just not where my heart is. I don't watch telly. I'm not engaged in that world. So I hear people talking about things. I mean, at the moment, everyone's talking about traitors. I
Yeah,
have
traitors, yeah.
no idea.
I don't watch it either.
I just have no idea. And I did try, but I don't get it. It's obviously very popular, and that's amazing for all the people that have created it, and that's great, but it's not me. And I need to find me people, and it can be a bit strange just listening to everybody talking about this common theme that they have, and I don't have that. But I want to be true to myself. I can't go home and watch it for the hell of it. I need to be authentic, and my authentic is coming to the pottery studio, maybe on the way home, making a little pot.
So I like the phrase that you used there. You said that I have to find me people. So by opening the studio, and you said it's 20 years, is that right?
I've been doing pottery for over 20 years. We opened the studio, I think, in 2018 or 19, something like that.
So that's about 5-6 years
5-6 years ago, yeah.
So have you found your me people?
Yeah. But almost by accident this has happened. So I wanted to share what I got out of it, because I think it's so valuable, and there's more understanding around mental health and loneliness and what are people doing, doom scrolling, all of that sort of stuff. So I almost wanted to say to everyone, there's some other stuff that you can do, and it's not on a device in your hand or on a screen. And I didn't know if it was going to work, so that's why we started in the village hall. Just said, I'm going to do a pottery session on a Sunday morning. Is anyone interested? And people came. And it's like, wow. People did come and they enjoyed it. And then I found that these were people who actually opened up. And what I discovered was that people started talking about traumas. And they were finding healing in the pottery. And I think I almost secretly, quietly find healing in the pottery too. And it was almost like a therapy session, but people were creating and talking, sharing common experiences, and it was just amazing. And so it was more than just doing pottery. It was social, relaxing. It encompassed so many things, and I think it was therapeutic for people.
Because it's definitely, I mean, you don't have to actually talk to people if you don't want to.
No.
You can just focus on the pottery, can't you?
No, exactly. And I think, I'm somebody who suffers maybe with a bit of social anxiety, and I think it can be difficult sometimes for people to take those steps and go to a social event. It can feel very big and intimidating and a bit scary. Who you're going to meet, what you're going to say. But with pottery, it's really easy. You sit at a wheel and you can focus if you want to focus.
Yeah.
And over time you might find there's people that come every week or engage with you. So it's up to you really whether it's social or not. So I think it's gentle. It's gentle. So
yeah, that's a good word for it, gentle. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think for some people, just stepping outside the front door into an unknown social environment can be a bit scary and a bit intimidating.
Definitely. Again, asking people just their opinion on why do you think people are lonely these days?
Oh, probably for lots of reasons, I think. And I also think some of it is the way we work and the way we exist post-COVID. So I think it's really driven working from home. And I think for me that's a problem. I choose definitely not to work at home, because I don't think that would be good for my mental health. I don't think it would be healthy to wake up and do my day at home and then go to bed and wake up and see my work in the corner. And I think that's not a helpful way of working. I think COVID came, we did that because we had to do that. And then COVID, the pandemic crisis has gone, but we haven't changed that. We've stopped going into the office, we've stopped being sociable, we've stopped interacting with each other, and I think that's had a massive impact. I think just the way people communicate, devices, and it's finding the way to use them properly, a bit like AI. Somewhere it can be useful, somewhere it can be destructive. So I think we're looking at people now who find it easier to send a text message maybe rather than pick up the phone.
Yeah.
When I was young, you could only pick up the phone. There wasn't a device. So lots of things have changed. And some people are inherently shy. And that can lead to loneliness because they don't feel they've got what it takes to walk out the door and go somewhere and do something because it's scary.
Yeah.
I don't think there's one answer.
No, there's probably lots of reasons.
Yeah, and mix into that everybody's different personalities and desires and goals and time. and where they are in their stage of life. I think loads of reasons. You know, I talked to my mum on the phone, probably not enough. And when I talk to her, she talks a lot, and then she says she apologises, but it's because she doesn't see enough people in the week. That must be lonely. So different stage in her life, different circumstances. She can't drive anymore. So I think, yeah, it's probably hundreds of reasons.
And if someone was listening and they felt lonely, not necessarily give them advice, but what would you offer them? Perhaps what guidance would you give to someone who is feeling lonely right now?
Yeah, I think just first of all to be kind to yourself, and I think that means looking inward, not in a selfish way, but looking inwards, being authentic and saying, actually, what is it that I am looking for? Is it creativity? Is it something I don't know? If I don't know, then maybe try some different things. But you don't have to be the same as everybody else. And I think if you're a little bit different, and I'm always conscious of that, I think I'm a little bit different from everybody else. And then other times I think I probably don't appear to be different from everybody else. But I think if you feel that way, just be honest and authentic with yourself and find a new path. Take the first step. And it's okay, because out there, I don't think the world is as intimidating as perhaps it might feel when you're sat in amongst four walls, wondering what's out there, feeling isolated, wondering if you're different, but wanting to be part of something.
Yeah.
It starts inwardly, I think. Yeah. But that can be hard. That can be hard to find yourself.
Yeah, it's the hardest part, isn't it, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think you've got a number of classes, haven't you, from beginners to people who are already quite experienced.
Yes.
As you call them, throwers. So if people wanted to try pottery, they would all the details are available on your website.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're opening.
So we've got sessions on a Sunday. We do 3 sessions on a Sunday, Monday evening, Tuesday evening, Thursday we're here all day, morning, afternoon, evening. Friday morning, Friday afternoon. So
there's lots of different
times.
Different
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think because although we're fairly large for pottery, we have a maximum capacity of 14 people, so it's never too terrifying.
And what would you say if somebody was always wanting to try pottery and just feeling, I'm not sure if I could do it? What would you say to them?
Give it a go. Just give it a go. I'd say, and if you're one of those people, and we do get emails from people saying, look, I'm really socially awkward, I'm difficult, or I'm really struggling with autism, but I want to give this a go. So we get emails from people saying this is who I am. So we know then when people come, it's fine. It's not that we treat them differently. It's just having an awareness, and we can support. Then we all learn in different ways, and we all have different comfort zones, don't we? Yeah. So yeah. And just
trying new things is always
try new things.
Out of it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's stepping out of the door. But I think we're always very friendly here.
And so thanks very much for allowing me to come and interview you, and also try pottery, because I've never done it before.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming. I think it's a great experience. Yeah, right. Thank you. Thanks.
Kathy's love for pottery came through clearly when I spoke to her. She's truly built a vibrant community centred on ceramics. She found that by engaging with pottery, it provided her with the mental health benefits, giving her genuine peace of mind she now wanted to share. I admired her enthusiasm for sharing a passion for clay, something she began almost by happenstance after someone noticed her interest. Clay seems to be a significant part of Kathy's childhood memories, especially its scent, which, as we know, can powerfully evoke memory. What is it about the smell of clay? It's earthy and reminiscent of mud, and that word for the smell of rain is petrichor. Maybe it's going to be an individual thing, but that scent reminds me of childhood too, of playing in the mud without a care in the world. Is that the same for you? Kathy described how pottery helped alleviate her loneliness by connecting her with like-minded individuals. She emphasised authenticity and celebrated being different, highlighting the importance of self-compassion. It was wonderful to learn that they try to accommodate individual needs. It truly feels as though pottery found Kathy at exactly the right moment in her life, and her willingness to share its benefits has inspired others to try it and fall in love with clay themselves. I also spoke to Neil, a volunteer at the studio. I'm here with Neil from Dassett Pottery. So Neil, what's brought you to Dassett Pottery?
So I used to pottery on my own, just my shed basically, for a few years, and never really fired anything, never really knew what I was doing really. So I came along for a taster session and loved it, and I've been coming ever since. It's just quite a fun place to be. So I've been here for a little over a year now. I think about 3 or 4 months ago, I went from being just a normal member to volunteering. So I help out with glaze mixing and kiln loading and unloading, things like that.
Yeah, so you really must enjoy pottery.
Yeah. It's probably my main creative outlet. I used to be a baker up until COVID, and I kind of missed the ritual of baking. So, getting up early in the morning, doing something creative that other people then enjoy. And so during lockdown, I closed my bakery and changed profession, but I also took a pottery class for the first time, and I've been pottering ever since.
Okay, pottering with pottery.
Yeah.
There's a joke there, isn't there? And obviously the podcast is about loneliness, and I have been asking people about sharing their experience of loneliness.
Yeah.
So is there something that you could share with us?
Yeah, I used to have a shop in Warwick Town Centre. It was quite busy and I had a lot of social interaction. And I went from that to working a desk job, but working from home. And I probably go into the office once a month. So I don't really have a lot of social interaction anymore. I don't really see people or talk to people. In my day-to-day job, it's quite insular. So just coming here a few hours a week is probably the most I interact with other people. And it really helps. It's great just to be able to pop in and you have a chat and you're with like-minded people, and it's a very non-judgmental place as well, which I think is more important than you realise when you first start. When I first started coming, I was a bit worried about what people would think of me and whether I was good enough to be coming to a studio and things like that. But it's not really that sort of place. It's like everyone's welcome. It doesn't matter where you are in your journey, whether you're a complete novice or you've been doing it for years. And the people here are just very accommodating and very welcoming.
And if an alien came down to Earth, how would you describe your experience of loneliness? Because it's unique to everybody. Yeah,
it's a tricky one. So I've suffered quite badly with my mental health quite a few years, and I think loneliness is one of those really debilitating conditions where you don't really talk about it that much, and you keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
And that's probably the worst part of it. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
You need to go out and talk to people, but the loneliness stops you from being able to do it. It creeps in and is quite insidious at times, I think.
Yeah. So it's almost like a secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we keep.
But it's also probably the easiest condition I find once you start. Probably the easiest thing you can do to get over it. Because as soon as you start talking to someone, you realise that you're not alone, and everyone feels it at some point, and it's just a very, very, such a common thing that just 10 minutes in a shared space with someone and having a chat makes it all go away. So it's a strange one.
Yeah. And do you have any thoughts on why people are lonely?
Yeah, probably.
Well, there seems to be, they say it's a loneliness epidemic, but, we're more connected than ever with our, globally, etc., with technology.
So, as I say, now, I work in a team with about 50 people, but I probably speak to one person every 2 days. Whereas before, when I had the bakery, I had 4 staff and customers, and I would see them every day and talk to them, and even if it's just a hello or someone just popping in just to ask how you are, that is a real big deal for your mental health and your comfortable feelings around other people.
Being a baker's, you would be a kind of centre of the community, I guess?
Yeah, it was a lovely place to be in that we had people who came to us for the very reasons that I now come here, and it's like, you know, people who didn't get to talk to others very often, so they'd pop into the shop because they know they could just sit there and have a coffee and a chat, and the staff and myself were always happy to do that. It's you don't get that much these days, and you know, I think social media also makes it look like everyone else has kind of got it sorted. You know, everyone's got their manicured Instagram lives, which make it look very much like you've somehow missed the boat and you're not quite living up to their expectations, I suppose. And I think that kind of puts blockers in for people. It stops people wanting to go out and try. But yeah, I think the going out and the trying is the key to it. That it's sort of it's becoming easier and easier to lock yourself away and to not bother. And I think that's kind of the worst thing you can do.
If you were able to say something to people listening and who were feeling lonely right now, what would you say to them, impart to them?
That you're not alone. That we're all experiencing it, no matter what we look like on the outside, and that there's always places like this. There's always places where you can come along and feel part of a community, and you don't need to do anything. You don't need to be special at something or you know, specifically skilled or anything like that. You can just come along and enjoy yourself, and that's the main part of it, really. It's just the being around others, and yeah, that's why places like this are so good, I think.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
The pottery serves as an important support for Neil, who noted that engaging in pottery has positively impacted his mental health. He observed that while loneliness is often unseen, it is generally straightforward to address, emphasising its paradoxical nature. Neil's appreciation for the absence of judgment upon his arrival was a crucial aspect of his experience. Coming to the pottery studio boosted his confidence and skills, and he now volunteers to help others, which in itself has shown to help with loneliness. When he spoke about his past as a baker, he mentioned missing the ritual of it, waking early, baking, and sharing his creations with others. Now he works at a desk and seldom sees his co-workers, which presents a stark contrast to his earlier lifestyle. He once found purpose in the community through his shop, which became a lifeline for others, just as pottery now serves as his refuge. Perhaps the hands-on process of shaping clay reminds him of kneading bread, highlighting their similarities and bringing him solace. In Neil's quiet and measured responses, I could sense how profoundly COVID had changed his life, and that he was still perhaps acclimatising. 6 years after the pandemic, many are still mourning, perhaps lost loved ones, or the lives they once had. That's a lot for people to carry, and many of us are still carrying it quietly. So holding all of that in mind, let's go back to the pottery studio. I didn't go in feeling particularly confident. I went in feeling like someone trying something new, which is to say a bit unsure and slightly out of place. So here's my verdict. Yes, it was an enjoyable thing to try, yet you have to be realistic with your expectations. For me, what I discovered was actually how difficult it was, and that's okay, and they do tell you this first up. It can take hours to master it, a bit like driving a car. And secondly, how complex it was. I watched the demo first. It looked so easy. I did get some useful info before the session too, on safety and what to wear, etc., as it can get messy. But I think that's part of it, the touchy-feely nature of it. It's you with messy hands, oozing wet clay all over your fingers and under your nails, spreading over on your wrists and elbows. You're required to lean forward over the wheel to steady yourself. Oh, and operate the wheel with a foot pedal at different speeds at times. So a lot there already, even before you attempt to form the clay into anything. Then you're shaping, adjusting, responding. I noticed that while I was working with the clay, my mind was just in that moment, not racing ahead, just focusing on something simple, on something present, yet something fragile that could go wrong at any second. And it did. You have to also ignore the "am I doing this right" feeling, which is ever present, to be honest. There are various techniques and stages you have to work through initially, literally throwing the clay so it centres on the wheel and adjusting it if it's not centred. Then you have to ensure it keeps wet enough. You push it down to then pull it back up, to then flatten it, and then pull it up to hollow it out into a pot type shape or something along those lines. I was guided a lot by the technician there. He probably did a lot of it, to be fair, showing you how to use your hands and your fingers. So shout out to Nick. He's a patient guy. No surprise that it takes many attempts to get it right, but with Nick's help I managed to make a respectable little pot. This was then glazed and fired for me, ready to collect some weeks later. So be prepared to be out of your comfort zone at first. Have realistic expectations and know you will improve the more you do it. There were others there who were using the clay to make free-form sculptures, and they were all friendly and their pieces all looked amazing. I met a lady called Tess who was making a coral-inspired sea structure that was intricate and detailed and fabulous looking. The finished piece is on their Facebook page now. You can create more than just mugs and bowls. Anything you can imagine is possible. That's the thing about clay. It's flexible and pliable, full of potential, waiting for you to unleash your creativity onto it. Perhaps the best thing about pottery is that when it goes wrong, you can just start again without judging yourself too harshly, as it happens to everyone. I wonder where that mindset can also be applied to. Anyway, returning to the subject in hand, why can pottery help with loneliness? It can help by giving it something to sit alongside with. And by that, I mean pottery doesn't demand any conversation. It's just sitting quietly together, doing your thing. And as you sit side by side, you are focused on your wheel and silence is normal. Loneliness can often live in our heads, stewing over things, being self-critical, worrying about belonging. And so the clay brings all that attention away from the head to the body. Your hands in clay, feeling the moisture, the texture, the weight, the resistance. And that can quieten the loneliness, even if it's temporary, and creating a moment of relief. Shared focus can create connection. It can often happen implicitly. People may ask questions about shapes or glazes, or when something goes wrong, people may laugh together. The connection grows around the activity, and it's not forced in any way. Pottery can be good for those who are socially anxious or grieving, those who may be neurodivergent, or feeling they have lost confidence through life changes. All types of people come to pottery. Pottery also gives some structure and routine, something to look forward to, and leave the house. You just need to show up. It also allows you to be seen, as you end up with something tangible you have created, and the object you make is a reminder that you do have agency and presence, a subtle but powerful effect, as often loneliness can make us feel truly invisible. We also need to remember that being a beginner is okay, and even experienced potters suffer collapses and things going wrong. It's the nature of pottery, and it humbles all. Lastly, the pottery studio can become that safe harbour for people. Support is there without it being about anything more than you all like pottery. Familiar smells, tools, people, and predictable rhythms can all quietly become an anchor. It's not just about making pots, it's about finding somewhere you can belong without having to explain why you're there. It feels like Dassett Pottery Studio is one of those places. This started with clay, but like most things, it wasn't really about that. It was about being thrown together in the same space, doing your own thing, but not being on your own. Sometimes that's enough. And that feels like a great place to end this episode. Thanks for listening. And as ever, if you'd like to contact me, leave me any comments or messages. I'd love to hear from you. My email is in the show notes. If you enjoyed this podcast, please follow and like and all that jazz. If you know someone who might benefit from this podcast, please share it. Let's keep connected. Bye.